Morning. Oh, well, I'm going to change the tone a little bit. You're used to that. Lest we get too perky here. I was having a conversation recently with a woman I've known through the years at our center. She's a practitioner. She has been a practitioner. And she has Parkinson's. And she's been dealing with Parkinson's for years now. And she's at that point where she is no longer able to stably walk on her feet. She had took a couple of falls. One of them broke her back. So she is living with her son now and being taken care of. And so I was talking to her, and she was leading with this judgment and story she had in her head. She was fed by her son, but living alive in her this idea of, I used to be able to, some of you may recognize, I used to be able to do this, and I should be able to do this. Her son wanted her to keep walking, and she was thinking she should be able to keep walking, even though she had to have a brace from the tailbone to her neck from her back break. And so I kept supporting her and just being present and not listening to the story and telling the story of the shoulds and the judgments, and I'm not what I used to be and I should be more. And finally, she just landed in herself in this moment and said, I'm frustrated. And so I just invited her to feel that frustration and to sit with herself. And after a few moments, I could feel something shifting, and I said, what just happened? And she said, I have more room to breathe. This week's topic is choosing possibility. And we are an uplifted community that loves this idea of possibility. We love this idea of results and demonstrations and getting what we want. Our teaching has supported many people in recognizing the thoughts and the judgments that run in our minds and limit us to old stories, right? You've experienced this, and we teach you how to become aware of these ideas that aren't necessarily based on a reality. They're just old ideas, experiences, and to put them down. To maybe even open up to what you would like to experience. And as you've heard in word and in song, imagine and open to a greater experience. This teaching is beautiful in supporting people and having greater good in their lives. But what I want to talk about this morning is this whole idea of possibility based on our teaching. Because what Ernest Holmes, our founder, and what spiritual practice all over the world teaches isn't this possibility of a better life. It really is an understanding of the one life, that ground of being right here. That it's not what's possible in our future, but what is fully present right now. We are grounded in a principle that there is only this one life, this one intelligence, this one power, this one substance of which this whole universe is made. And it's unfolding and expressing uniquely through each individuated form, through every particle, every person. But it's really always and only unfolding together. And so the practice of stopping, what we call prayer or spiritual alignment, really is becoming in present and opening to that is already so. Not to create a better world outside or to have a better life or even to have a better feeling, but to open to that is beyond our human ideas, our human stories, our human beliefs. In this Western culture, and in our spiritual community, it's easy to get into that mindset of, I should be happy. throughout humanity, we all have this natural response to pain. We don't want pain. We don't want what we don't want. We all want to feel good. We all want to feel taken care of and secure. I've been recognizing, I think I heard this from somebody, and really sitting with this whole idea of uncertainty. Is anybody feeling uncertain right now? I mean, we really don't know what's going to happen. And the truth is, we never and never have known what was going to happen in the next moment. And when I was thinking about it, I thought, well, all possibility is based on uncertainty. Isn't it? It's based on, I don't know what's going to happen. It's not fixed. So the basic tenets of this teaching is that fluidity of life, even in the face of the fact that we see solid and fixed. Here I am in a solid, real body experience. Here you are in your lives. We're not denying that big stuff is happening in the world. We're not denying that big stuff is happening in our life experience. We're stopping to recognize that that's always present. We are not here just to have nice lives. There is, in my experience, as someone who grew up without a God, there's no thing or being that's watching out for me so that I can only have a nice life. Does anybody ever experience anything that's less than nice in their lives? You know, because if I had a God that wanted only good and that was only good, I would want it to be doing a better job right now. What we're being invited to do is come present with what is. To live right here like my friend in her Parkinson's. We weren't trying to fix her condition. Now, certainly in Western medicine and with the human mind, we have learned to heal a lot. And certainly our mind participates in that. But we aren't here to fix. All spiritual teachings are about an internal experience. They're all an invitation to come home and know that something more is here. Some people call it God or spirit or the divine. I call it life. We might call it the one infinite intelligence. It's what's doing life right now, and it's not broken. It's not having a hard time. And so here in this new year, we usually come in, we love New Year's. Happy New Year. This is going to be a good new year. We set our resolutions, our intentions. And this year, I don't know what your experience is. I know it's really hot down in Santa Rosa in the emotional temperature of what's going on. We don't know how this year's going to be. But our teaching isn't about getting to a new year. It's about recognizing that truth so that we can be walking in that truth, that we can participate in our thought, our word, and our action with what's in front of us. My friend with Parkinson's, what can you do right now? And what can't you do in that learning to embrace that? To find more room to breathe. Wouldn't that be nice? But even more than nice is that I know, and many of you know, is that's available right here. Room to breathe. By letting go of my sense of separate self, as if I'm in charge of my breath itself. As if I'm in charge of what's happening. We're really looking to something that's bigger and beyond us, to something that's really unknowable. We're and we love you too, right? And that's what we get to do, that. I just finished reading Gregory Boyle's new book. I don't know how many of you know him. He is a Jesuit priest that got sent to LA to do his ministry. And when he got there to the area they sent him, what he found was a community filled with gang activity. And so, because he's deeply rooted in his faith and his Christian love, he opened his ministry to the gangs. He started inviting the gang members to come and be with him. And he started inviting people to come and have their tattoos removed if they wanted to live outside of the gang life. He created what he named Homeboy Industries. He's educating, teaching these gang members how to live in society, giving them job skills. The name of his new book is Cherished Belonging. And he talks about over and over in all his writings, he's not working on behavior. He's working on supporting these people in knowing that they are loved and of value. The two tenets of the Homeboy Industries are everybody belongs, no exceptions. And everybody is cherished, no exceptions. So here we are in this community that teaches and is based in oneness. Living in this one life, and everybody belongs, no exceptions. We know that because they're here, right? Everyone is made of that same stuff of life. I'm not talking about mystical woo-woo ideas. Everyone is made of the same stuff. And so the invitation of opening to greater possibility is to come back and know that love in ourselves, to find that is in us, that's unbroken and unbreakable. It's our life. It's not our bodies. Our bodies are what they are. Most of us are at an age where we know that we're not doing what we used to do. And we all know sort of that we're all kind of going to the same place in body form. But some of us, all of us can know that we are not these bodies, that there is a consciousness and awareness, just the presence of life that's right here. That is that room to breathe. For it truly is what breathes our breath. We talk about choosing, and we say that very loosely in this teaching. We say it a lot because we want to feel like we have free agency to run the universe. If you're running the universe, let's up our game, okay? Ernest Holmes, back in the early 1950s, said mostly what's choosing is our old animalistic mind. The old stories that are already programmed in our minds, that's what has our attention. Is that not so? Because those old stories that tell us that we're separate in form, we believe these bodies, we believe we're separate, we believe that this is who I am, based on old memories, old teachings, old ideas from that we came wired in with in our birth, that we got enculturated in. I'm a woman, I'm a man, I'm this, I'm that. And he's saying, we don't know what's beyond that. We can't see what's beyond that. And what's really true is today, the scientists, the neuroscientists, they say the same thing. We aren't seeing the whole picture. We still mostly listen to our old mind that's based on staying safe. That looks for who's the problem, who's the enemy, who do I have to stay safe from? The world shows that right now, does it not? People are fighting to know they're okay. People are fighting to know that what they want, they can have. based on old ideas. And the core old idea is that we're separate as individuals, as communities, as a country. There is no true separation. I love that song, Imagine, because that's what John Lennon was singing about. Yes, he was talking about imagine so we can create a new world, but really, there are no true boundaries of countries. We've made that up. We know that. We know that there aren't any true separations of race, gender. We have ideas and they're fixed ideas. I've said that I heard a physicist talk about how back in the day of Einstein, we knew that there wasn't true expression of time and space, that it's a mental construct. And he said at the same time, science itself is still basing everything on the construct of time and space. So here we are in an ancient teaching of wholeness and oneness. And yet we're still living from, I'm separate from you. I'm better than you. I'm worse than you. And so that invitation to stop and just be with what's here, to notice it, to not fight, to try to change, to try to get to something new. Because all of that is happening in our minds, is it not? I was talking to a woman the other day that I've talked to many times who has struggled with her personal story, has just this old, deep experience of self-hatred. I don't belong, I don't deserve. And interestingly enough, this woman also has deep, abiding experience of wholeness. And she can drop from one to the other faster than fast. Because the truth is, our wholeness is always right here. That deep, abiding peace is already here. That breath is already here. And yet our mind is very convincing, is it not? We see it. We have been taught that it's true. We reinforce it all the time. And so I was talking to her the other day, and she was talking about her struggle. She's got big stuff in her personal world happening right now. And she said, I just need a break. And I said, well, what does that look like? And she says, well, I take breaks by sitting on my couch and just scrolling through my phone. But then I just feel numb. And so I invited her and I asked her, what does that feel like to feel numb? What is that? What are you seeking? And she started talking about it and getting closer and closer to what was really present. And in a moment, she just opened to that wholeness, that vastness of being. It was palpable. You can feel that, right? When you walk into the room with someone who's filled up to overflowing. Then if you've ever sat with great teachers and you walk in the room and you can feel the love right there. And so that's really the invitation of looking at choosing possibility. We're really just opening to something greater, even as the world is pressing. Even as there are things that are hard for us to deal with. Can I just meet it without fighting for just a moment? It may shift, it may not. But that space to breathe is here. I was thinking about how tricky the mind is. You know, we know that placebos work because the mind believes something that really shouldn't have a medical effect. The same thing is true on the other side, is people that have been misdiagnosed start showing the symptoms of the illness they don't have because the mind is very convincing. It has convinced us that we're these solid machines separate from each other. And so to know that possibility is to open to all that there is. and to recognize life is fluidly unfolding right now. And it's beyond what my senses are telling me. We're not seeing oneness, but it's not just this nice feeling. It really is the truth of what we are. We're invited to live from that bigger awareness. In fact, Ernest Holmes, and I say this over and over to you, invites us not just to know the ideas, but to really drop in and experience it. It's right here when we stop. It may be under some sludge of feelings that we're trying to avoid. Just the fear, the uncertainty. I'm watching all my liberal community go off and do things that aren't necessarily the best thing for the planet right now. They're not necessarily creating greater peace for all of us. Everybody just wants to feel safe. The world doesn't promise safety. It's not inviting us just to be happy. This is not the source of that. So that invitation of the teaching to stop and be with what is, to find that greater awareness, that greater presence right here. That's what our prayer is. That's what our practice is, to find that room to breathe. We do it in our study, in our spiritual practices. We do it in nature. But we can do it in the midst of the work that Gregory Boyle does, working with hard stuff. We're not making pretty. You know, he talks about people, his people getting murdered, people going back to prison. They have to call the police. He's not pretending that everything's nice. I'm not going to pretend that everything's nice. But we need to find our place. And we start with where we are. I was talking to my friend, and she was talking about here she is struggling, and this is why she runs to the couch with her phone, because she's got her own personal physical challenges, and then her partner's getting dementia and she can't see without her partner. She's losing her eyesight and it's so hard, and she's like, I can't do the work I used to do. And I said, your work is right here. The work we have to do is in what's before us. It might be big work out in the world. It might be big work in the community, grassroots work. There's work to be done. But it has to start with who you are and where you are. I heard a man the other day talking about how the community's coming together in LA around the LA fires. And people are contributing, showing up. And I thought about the Tubbs fire in Sonoma County. It was big. There was a saying that we heard over and over again: the love is bigger than the smoke. It was hard. It was hard to breathe. It was scary. People were losing their homes. People were carrying their go bags with them everywhere they went. Everything was uncertain. And yet, in that hardship, people opened their hearts. People opened their hands and lent a hand to whatever they could offer and give. People gave money. People cooked and fed. People housed people who had lost their homes. Right now, big stuff's happening in our world. Always, truly, big stuff's been happening in our world. Sometimes it takes bigger and bigger stuff for us to pay attention, wake up. And so that call to stop and recognize, oh, there's that breath right here. What's mine to do? Whether it's to find my own peace, whether it's to help the family around me, my neighbors, my neighborhood, whether it's to do big work in the world. We're opening to that bigger possibility that's already here. Life is already holding us, and it's already unfolding right now. I'm just inviting you to recognize where the old stories are and to meet yourself where you are in this moment. Because then we can meet what's coming with our open hearts and our open minds and really be the community we're here to be. And so let's take this into that practice we call spiritual alignment, where we simply stop in this moment to recognize that has been here all along. It is an intelligence, a presence, a power of life that holds this earth and all that is upon it. It is the one consciousness that expresses through all life, that sees through our eyes, hears through our ears. No one, nothing left out, no exceptions. Everything made of that one. Everything unfolding in that one, turning brand new right now. This one source, call it what you will. It is life. It is presence. It is that breath breathing right now. And so I know it as the very source, the very life that I am. No separation between me and life. It is simply being me, informing, unfolding in and through and as me. It unfolds all around me. It is the life of each one here. It is the life of those we hold near and dear in our hearts. It is the life of everything, everyone in this world. Beyond thoughts, ideas, good, bad, beyond judgments, we simply come home to that recognition, to recognize, to listen anew, to see anew, to allow that intelligence to unfold through us anew. For it is not bound by that has gone before it. It is not bound by experience. It is not bound by human thoughts. It simply is wholly, completely present here. And so I know that we are held in this presence. It is unfolding in and through and as our world, beyond our experience of good and bad. It simply is unfolding, and we bring forth that highest that we are. We bring forth that love right where we are, in a joy and sadness, in that inner stillness, and in every activity. It is the source of all. It is so good to come home in conscious awareness of this one. And in this recognition, I simply let go into this that is and does all things. And I let this be. And so it is. Amen.